Hi, my name is Belgica, and I have been receiving a specific comment recently, and it is, I am blank years old and I'm looking to get into acting. How do I do it? It's usually like 13, 16. I know a lot of people think that if I start early, that's the way to go, but I made another video on how to start a career in acting, period. And this one's gonna be specifically for people that are underage. I didn't even discover acting until I was 16, I believe, and then I just took one drama class and that was pretty much it. And then I was like, I'm going to be an actress, and then I went to college to be an actor. Personally, did not experience being a child actor or a child who wanted to be an actor, just because I did discover it when I was basically an adult. So I don't have any experience firsthand. So I'm going to tell you just as much as I can, as much information that I have learned so far. And if you do have any advice for any other people that might be watching this, please put it in the comments. And then when I learn from you, when I discover new things, I'll make an updated video and be able to make a second version of this video with hopefully more information. As far as I know, it is harder to be a child actor than an actor who is over 18 or over 21 because you have a lot of limitations as far as the laws go, because there are labor laws and you need to also go to school. There's things that you can't do because you can't drive, or you can't legally grant permission to certain things unless you have your parents' permission. You can't obviously drink alcohol. So there's a lot of things that you need to consider that you are, underage. So the first and biggest thing is to have permission from your parents. And I know for a lot of people that might be really, really hard, because I come from a very traditional Mexican family where if I had told them when I was really young, at least my mom, if I had told them that, hey, I want to be an actor, like, let's go do things, she would have very quickly been like, sit down and do your homework or go clean your room. Like, she wouldn't have even considered taking me to an acting class or taking me to go audition for an agency or anything like that. If you are in that situation where your parents aren't willing to cooperate with you and allow you to act, I would say don't get discouraged. And unfortunately, they are the bosses. Your parents are the ones that dictate what you do with your life as far as giving you permission. I definitely don't want to tell anybody to, go another direction and don't listen to your parents. I would rather say convince them. If you really, really want to be an actor, convince them, tell them why, show them that you are truly dedicated by learning at home acting. And once they see you actually putting work into it and wanting to pursue it, then they're going to support you eventually. And how you can do that is by reading plays, watching movies, learning monologues, read a book about acting, do acting exercises. And I recently published a video on monologue feedback, so go ahead and watch that. So parents' permission is very important, especially for the next thing. If you want to be a part of a production, you are most likely going to have some kind of work permit. And this, you can usually Google your local laws for underage workers and specifically for underage performers. So I know it's different in every single state, but basically just Google, if you live in California, Google California labor laws for children, or entertainment labor laws for children in California, something along the lines of that. And don't wait until you get hired onto a production to go and investigate that and go get it. Be informed and go see, how long it takes to get your permit in your state. How long is that permit going to be valid? Do you have to renew it? Do you have to prove that you're homeschooled, or that you are still going to school full time, or you have permission off of school? So it's very important to do your research before you get cast in something, because let's say you get cast in like 13 Reasons Why or something like that, and you're 14, and they're like, okay, please make sure that you send us your permit information, your work, underage workers permit. And you're gonna be like, oh, I don't have one. They're not gonna legally be able to hire you if you don't have a permit. So I'm just saying, be professional, be ready, have your worker's permit. And then there's other things that are just inevitable, that there's some production companies that maybe need teenagers, but a lot of the time in casting calls, they will put must be able to look like a freshman in high school, but be over 18. So that does happen a lot, that production companies don't even want to have to deal with everything that comes along with hiring somebody that's underage, because depending on their budget, depending again on the state laws, they might have to have a teacher on set to be able to homeschool you. A lot of the time also children aren't allowed to work the full 8-hour days a week or 5 days a week. Medium and smaller sets that just don't have the money for it, they're going to be able to jump through those hoops by just hiring somebody that's over 18. And then going forward, sometimes alcohol is involved in commercials or productions where, I don't know, maybe it's a YouTube video and they're going to be doing a video around alcohol. Like, they're going to have to legally hire people over 21. And if you're underage, it's very likely that you also don't have a driver's permit, driver's license, or a vehicle to be able to drive you to auditions or to actual set. And that's definitely something that productions keep in mind, is we could go with the minors, but do we actually need people underage, where we can just, instead of having to go through all of those things, they can just hire people that are over 18 but look younger and not have to worry about any of the extra things. And this is just coming from, again, from somebody who is in the industry but was never in the industry as a child, and I'm just giving you my perspective. Again, if you have any tips, any ideas, if you are a child who has been in productions, then let me know. I know a lot of short films, independent films, that kind of stuff, they can usually get away with, you know, just getting the parents' permission and having the parent come along and bypass any of the permits and such. As far as the amount of casting calls on websites like Backstage, Casting Network, that kind of thing, I don't know if it's just because I'm not a child, you know, I'm not underage, so maybe that's the reason why I don't see a lot of casting calls on places like Backstage, Casting Networks. But I would definitely recommend that if you do want to get into acting, if you're a parent of somebody who wants to get into acting, or you are trying to convince your parent, definitely look into legitimate casting agencies around you. If you know somebody who is an actor or a model who has an agent, maybe ask them how happy they are with their current agent, and ask their parents how they got there, and you can learn more about the legitimacy. You can learn more about the legitimacy of that specific agent in your specific area. In LA, San Francisco, you know, I would be a little bit familiar with that, but if you live in like Kansas or Canada or somewhere in another place, I don't know, I wouldn't be able to really tell you what is legitimate there. In the US, it's a huge entertainment industry hub. We are very, very lucky to be able to have all of these schools and all of these agencies and all of these opportunities. A lot of stuff gets filmed here, where if I lived in Mexico, for example, I wouldn't even know where to start. I wouldn't even know who's a legitimate agent and where to even find it, because I don't know anybody who's an actor of any type in Mexico. So I would have to start with Google. I recommend SceneBot. It's an app. That is one way where you could practice monologues and scenes. So I do have a video on that as well. SceneBot is oriented towards a younger demographic. There's monthly competitions for scenes or monologues. So that's really fun, and that of course can keep you busy if you're bored at home, if you're trying to learn acting at home. I've done a book review on Jenna Fisher's book, An Actor's Guide. There's definitely a lot of other ways that you guys can learn. I've done a video on 6 steps to analyze a monologue or a scene, so that can definitely help you just to get an idea of what acting is like. Check out all the playlists I have. I have a lot of playlists on casting sites that I use, reviews on ring lights if you want to start filming auditions. Like I said at the beginning, I also filmed a video on Monologue Feedback. If you're watching this in 2020, I'm going to be doing, just giving you some feedback if you want it on your monologues until June 1st of 2020. Share this with your parents if you're trying to, have them be more informed about the acting industry and maybe what to expect. And of course, I recommend going to watch the video I did on how to start a career in acting, period, because I just give a little bit of an overview of my experience and my thoughts on starting a career in acting from nothing. At the end of every video, I feature another channel. This is today's feature. This is Alex. Go check out her channel. She just started making videos and I actually met her on set. So she is also an actress.